Not many people win the war over their teenage bedroom, but I once did. When my brother left for college, I moved into our shared bedroom permanently, tossed out his twin bed and redesigned the space. For 2 years, it was my sanctuary, calm, private, and structured. Then I left for college too, and a couple of years later, life took us full circle. My brother and I both ended up working city jobs close to home. When my lease expired and rent skyrocketed, I moved back into my parents' place as something temporary, I told myself. But my old room? My brother had claimed it back, of course. The only free space left was the cramped guest room above the garage. It's not ideal. The floor shakes whenever someone opens the garage door. The closet barely fits anything, and it's right next to my dad's office, where he paces and talks on Zoom calls for hours. Still, it was private, and for the most part, it was quiet, until something happened that changed the way I saw that floor and in this house and forever. It was a summer Friday. My parents left that morning for our shore house like they did most weekends, and my brother was on a short work trip to Baltimore. I had the whole house to myself, and a rare thing. I decided to keep it simple. I ordered takeout, turned down an invitation from friends, and planned to go to bed early. Around 11:30 p.m., I was lying in bed, reading a paperback novel with a dim lamp flickering in the corner. The air felt heavy, like calm. Then came the unmistakable sound. The garage door started rising. My bed trembled beneath me. For a moment, I thought, oh good, they're home early. But that thought disintegrated almost immediately. My parents weren't supposed to return until Sunday night, and my brother would still be in another state until tomorrow afternoon. Someone had opened our garage, and I was alone. I jumped out of bed, grabbed a childhood baseball bat from the closet, a relic of my little league days, and tiptoed toward the stairs. I clung to rational explanations. Maybe the garage was glitching. Maybe someone accidentally pressed the remote. Then I heard it, whispering voices. 2 of them, male, coming from the opposite side of the house, where my parents' master bedroom is. The voices were muffled but clear. Drawers being opened, objects shuffled around. I realized instinctively I had to act fast. I called 911, whispered my address, and kept the call live in my pocket, just like the dispatcher told me. I should have hidden. I should have waited. But something in me, stupidity or adrenaline, said otherwise. I charged. Swinging open the bedroom door felt like exploding a bomb. The 2 men turned sharply, frozen like deer. They hadn't expected anyone to be home. I swung at the closest one and hit his shin so hard he toppled over. The second one lunged at me, pushed me back, and we both crashed to the floor. He started choking me, rage in his eyes. Then I saw it. The first guy, despite limping, was crawling toward me with something glinting in his hand. A knife. I remember thinking, this is it. This is how people die in their own bedroom. But then, police sirens, close. The man choking me let go, fast. He grabbed the other one and bolted through the backsliding doors, which they had apparently unlocked beforehand. I blacked out right after. When I came to, a police officer was kneeling beside me, checking my pulse. They never caught the men. Even worse, the police found 0 signs of forced entry. What they did find was chilling. The garage had been accessed using the remote inside my car, which was parked in the driveway unlocked. Someone knew exactly where it was and used it to get in. Someone familiar. Someone close. We installed a full security system that week. Cameras, locks, motion lights. But that doesn't erase the dread. That someone I once knew, friend, coworker, neighbor, saw us as a target. And for a few seconds that night, I was certain I'd never wake up again. They say the people closest to you can hurt you the most. In my case, it started with what I thought was a phone call from a hospital ER. It was 9 p.m. and I had just sat down after checking on my mom that morning. She was in her 70s, recently widowed, and living alone in the same house we grew up in. A few months prior, she'd had hip surgery after a minor fall, and dementia wasn't out of the question, medically speaking. So when a woman called, claiming to be a nurse at the local emergency room, I didn't think to question it. She was polite but urgent. My mom had taken another fall. This time, she had hit her head and was asking for me. The nurse even rattled off my mom's full name and past surgery details. I dropped everything. Didn't lock the house, didn't pack anything, just keys and my wallet. And I drove like hell. 20 minutes later, I was screaming at the ER front desk, asking why no one was helping my mom. The receptionist looked at me and said, "Ma'am, there's no one here by that name. Are you sure she was brought to this hospital?" Panic set in like frost on skin. I called my mom's landline. She answered, sleepy, confused. "Why are you calling so late?" "Everything okay?" My knees nearly buckled. I drove straight home on instinct, and the minute I opened the door, I saw it. My home had been broken into. But this wasn't your typical smash and grab. Yes, they took the big stuff, my laptop, TV, jewelry, but they also took personal things no thief normally touches. All my family photos were pulled out of their frames and gone. My prescriptions gone. Old letters, souvenirs, keepsakes, and all missing. They didn't crack a safe or take gift cards. They curated. This wasn't a random burglary. They wanted identity. They wanted intimacy. The police arrived and immediately agreed. This was planned. And worse, the nurse who called me had information she shouldn't have had. My mother's surgery, her full name, her street address, even my schedule. Somebody had been watching, recording, listening. I asked my mom later if she mentioned her surgery to anyone, a neighbor, someone at church. She shrugged and said, "Maybe." But you know how elders are. Kind, trusting, vulnerable. I changed all my personal info after that. Got a camera, switched meds. To this day, nothing else has happened. But every time my phone rings from an unknown number, there's a corner of my brain that whispers, "They're not done." I've been renting this house for over a year now, a small, updated single-family home in a quiet neighborhood. It's not huge, but it's mine, peaceful. Or it used to be. It was a Thursday night around 11 p.m., and I was brushing my teeth when someone began pounding. Not knocking, pounding at my front door. I looked through the peephole and saw a man, maybe mid-30s, wearing clothes that looked like he'd slept in them. His eyes darted wildly. He looked furious, possibly on something. I opened the door just enough to speak through the screen. "What's going on?" "You're in my house," he barked, eyes drilling into me. "I live here. You need to get out." Of course, I assumed he was mentally ill or drunk, until he started rattling off things only someone who's lived in this house could possibly know. He described the scratchy sound the hallway heater makes when it first kicks in, the sticking back door handle, a scuff mark behind the bedroom door. Stunned, I just stood there. Then he showed me photos of himself sitting on the couch, the one I sit on every night. Him at the stove cooking in my kitchen. A 4th of July barbecue I never hosted. In my backyard with fireworks visible in the background. These weren't old or doctored. The lighting layout went to even the current decor is matched. Panic washed over me, not like a wave, but like a flood. Was I losing my mind? Did he once live here? Could he be a clone of the previous owner? I told him I was calling the police. That was when his rage subsided completely. He nodded. "That's fine," he said softly. "I'll wait outside." But instead he walked off, quietly, into the dark, gone. Later the police found nothing, no sign of him. Nothing on record, My lease was valid. Even my landlord had no idea who he was. Never rented to anyone by that name. But 2 weeks later, I found the house broken into and completely ransacked. Oddly, nothing valuable was taken. No laptop, no cash, no TV. Everything simply turned upside down like someone was searching for something. No signs of forced entry, which meant he had a key. We changed every lock, installed cameras, changed the Wi-Fi, the whole package. But that doesn't fix the worst part. The photos. Because where did they come from? Who took them? And why do I still feel like he's in here even now, watching?